President Trump and President-elect López Obrador have become pen pals and envision increased cooperation. $15 billion vaping company is under investigation for targeting minors. 4-day working week trial by Kiwi firm paves the way for improved global productivity. And if you're getting hot under the collar this summer, follow our guide to staying cool. Hello and welcome to today's edition of Mexico News Network's Breaking News Business. I'm Elliot Bullman. Let's go straight to the information. Donald Trump has responded to the letter sent by Andrés Manuel López Obrador and said that Mexico and the United States should increase cooperation. The virtual president-elect of Mexico, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, informed through his Secretary of State that President Donald Trump replied on Monday to the letter that the Tabascans sent him on Sunday. Accompanied by Marcelo Ebrard, who he's proposed as Secretary of Foreign Relations, AMLO said that he's making President Trump's response known following the courtesy agreement that he's reinstated with the United States government. Mr. Trump also maintained that his working group has full respect for his current federal government and its government officials in matters of foreign affairs and trade. I agree with the 4 facets that you've identified: trade, migration, development, and security. My team has worked hard in the last 18 months to increase the relationship with Mexico in these areas, and I've instructed them to redouble their efforts with the next government team, says part of Trump's response to López Obrador. On Tuesday, Andrés Manuel López Obrador asked U.S. President Donald Trump to make an effort to conclude the renegotiation of NAFTA and not prolong the uncertainty. This request was made in a letter to the U.S. president that was delivered recently during a meeting in Mexico with several high-level officials sent by Washington and whose details were to be released once Trump had it in his hands. In other news, during a live-streamed press conference on Tuesday, Attorney General Maura Healey said Joule's e-cigarette products have become a hit among middle and high school students. But Healey's office is now investigating whether Joule violates state law by failing to prevent minors from buying its products. Investigators also want to determine whether Joule intentionally markets its products to teens and tracks underage use of its products. Joule Labs, the startup that makes the devices, is now valued at $15 billion and is growing fast. Adult customers say they find the high nicotine content as satisfying as conventional cigarettes, but the Joule also has a growing number of teen fans whose developing brains are uniquely vulnerable to addiction. Those teens could become a new generation of smokers, researchers are warning. Matthew Myers, the president of the non-profit Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids, says this is really the genie you can't put back in the bottle. In recent months, the backlash against Joule has grown. The company has been emphatic, though, that its products are not intended for teens, and Joule has taken measures to counter that reputation. But researchers and advocates say that teens who've been attracted to the device's sleek design and sweet flavors may now be becoming addicted to nicotine. Teens seem to love it. Instagram and YouTube are full of videos of teens vaping or juuling in class and even on the sly in front of teachers. Young people who vape, however, may be up to 7 times more likely to smoke regular cigarettes than teens who never try an e-cigarette, according to several peer-reviewed studies. In other headlines, a New Zealand company, Perpetual Guardian, is making headlines across the globe for a recent experiment that it conducted amongst its staff. In March and April, Perpetual Guardian's 240 employees worked 4-day work weeks, that's 32 hours instead of 40, and were paid for 5. During the trial, Perpetual Guardian had researchers study the effect on its employees. A blog post on Perpetual Guardian's website hails the trial as a world first, but in fact, other companies have made similar changes. Amazon has experimented with having employees work 30 hours a week while earning 75% of their normal salary and keeping all their benefits. And technology education company Treehouse has had a 32-hour work week since 2006. There's science behind these changes. The research of psychologist Anders Ericsson, who studies the development of expertise, suggests that people can only do concentrated work for about 4 or 5 hours at a time. If you're pushing people well beyond that time, they can really concentrate maximally. You're really very likely to get them to acquire some bad habits, Ericsson said. Moving on. This summer has been unusually hot in much of the Northern Hemisphere. With temperatures well above average in places, Mexico News Network takes a look at ways to cope with the heat. Thousands of people have been taken to hospital and dozens have died in record heat in countries like Japan and Canada in recent weeks. Meanwhile, in Mediterranean Europe, people are being evacuated as fires rage out of control. If you're not used to such extreme temperatures, you could be vulnerable to heat exhaustion, so knowing the warning signs is key. You should cool off immediately if you have the following symptoms: headaches, feeling dizzy, loss of appetite, nausea, excessive sweating, cramps, fast breathing, and intense thirst. Because our bodies sweat more in hot weather, it's really important to replenish lost water levels. Our physical thirst is not a very reliable indicator of how dehydrated we are. Urine color is better, so you should try to drink plenty before you actually feel parched. Avoid drinking too much caffeine or alcohol, as they are diuretics that can increase dehydration. Foods with high water content, such as strawberries, cucumber, lettuce, celery, and melon, can also help you stay hydrated. Now, if you're currently on holiday in Mexico, experiencing high temperatures you're not used to, try to keep your activity levels low for the first few days and let your body acclimatize. If you need to travel around somewhere hot like the archaeological ruins, try to do it when the weather is at its coolest. That's early or later in the day. Cold showers and blotting with damp, cold materials can also work wonders. Dressing for the weather may sound obvious, but clothes can make a real difference to how our bodies handle heat. Wear light colors, because dark can attract and retain heat, and loose garments can also allow air to get in. Hats with ventilation will help, and fabric choice is key also, because materials like cotton and linen are more breathable, absorbing sweat and encouraging ventilation. Those most vulnerable include the elderly, people with conditions such as diabetes, young children, and people working or exercising outdoors. And finally, let's check the markets. The Mexican peso increased 0.0045 or 0.02% to 18.66 from 18.6626 in the previous trading session. IPC Mexico increased 185 points or 0.37% to 49,789 on Thursday, July 26th, from 49,604 in the previous trading session. This was all for today. Thank you for your company. I'm Elliot Bullman. Remember to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+, and log on to MexicoNewsNetwork.com for more information on Mexico and the world. Until next time.